Georgia lawyers Bob and Irreverent D talk law. Listen up for stories about how things really happen in our legal system. Who are these guys? Dwayne Singleton, Irreverent D, is a criminal defense attorney in the state of Georgia. Benjamin Bengtson, aka Bob, is a personal injury attorney in Atlanta. Now, sit back and take a listen as Bob and Irreverent D talk law.
Okay, so there's this thing called the Crown Act. It's apparently a proposed legislation. I was reading about it. It is creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. Apparently, there are many people who are discriminated against as a result of their hairstyle.
I've seen that happen.
I've totally seen it happen. So this legislation proposes to create another protected class. So
Really?
Protected classes are like your age. You can't be discriminated against because of your age and your sex,
Sexual orientation.
That's right, and your religion, and also your natural hair color. So it's a real thing, and
so the officer stopped me, and he only did it because I have dreads.
Yeah,
or because I'm redheaded.
Well,
are we talking about hairstyles or hair color?
What has to be a natural hair color?
What about how your hair evolves naturally?
Well,
what about somebody with big hair versus?
Well, really, this is really
hair that lays
more
down nice. And
yeah, okay, but I mean.
Were you recording?
What?
We were recording. Okay. We're trying to film a video. Could you get that? We're trying to film a video here. Guys, seriously?
They're trying to pay for us filming this video.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. They're making money so we can pay for the video. No, this is really more intended to be in like the in the employment realm.
Okay.
Right, like you can't discriminate against me because I have an afro or like, you know,
however your hair
that's right. However your hair naturally is. So, I mean, this is in the pipeline. True story.
How about how you style your hair?
No, that's exactly right.
Been a lot of discussion about whether or not natural hair versus how certain organizations may require you to pull it back or to shave it off or to keep it
all covered right here.
All covered
right there.
What about if I want to have a beard, but I'm a firefighter and I'm required to wear something that seals around my face so I can breathe?
If you wanted to wear a beard and you were a waitress at Hooters, that's a problem, right?
Or what if I'm in a
we're gonna have to come up with some kind of legal solution to those problems.
And I come in there all shaggy hair, and the judge tells me to, get a haircut or
and get a real job.
Get out of his courtroom.
Wasn't there a movie that had that? Yeah.
It's happened.
All right, let's get started with the news.
All right, in the news.
And now, the news.
What do we got?
We've got a couple things. One, Carroll County prosecutor might seek posthumous exoneration for sharecropper. Not touching that.
We still have what? We still have sharecroppers?
No, this person was already dead.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about? Okay, gotcha.
Right, posthumous meaning. Yeah,
gotcha.
Got him.
If I would listen, maybe I would hear.
Atlanta appeals court expedites Trump's special master dispute.
I'm staying away from that.
Boring. Here's another one. This one's interesting. A man in Calhoun, Georgia, is being prosecuted for DUI and reckless driving and first-degree vehicular homicide. Here is what happened. He's driving down, looks like a 4-lane road in Bartow County, just up north of here, and he crossed the center line.
All right.
And crashed into at least 2 different cars, killing the passengers in the first car, which those were the mayor of Emerson, Georgia, and his wife. It was terrible. First, Dwayne, what is first degree vehicular homicide? And that's I imagine is bad.
Yeah. First of all, anytime anybody dies in a car wreck, it's terrible.
Right.
But you have these different degrees based on what you were doing at the time, basically. Okay. So it can be charged as, even if somebody dies, as a misdemeanor, which would only be up to a year in jail and $1,000 fine, or it can be charged as a felony if we have something else that happens, such as you're intoxicated, or, let's say somebody decided to leave the scene of the crime. So we have a hit and run situation. So then we go from there to being where you're looking at 3 to 15 years in prison. But the sad thing is that a lot of the families, when you go into these sentencing hearings and stuff like that, and they do their victim's impact statement, and they're talking to the judge, they're over there going, "Judge, we want him to have life.
Right.
And they took our child from us.
Right.
They need to be in jail the rest of their life.
They took my father. That's
and
right.
the judge, is stuck in a situation where the max he can give is 15.
For this first degree vehicular homicide, that's the max?
Right. That's the max prison time he can give.
Well, what else?
And then on average, though, most of the time, if you look around the state, you're looking in between like 5 to 10 years in prison. And so you get in this terrible situation where the family's not happy. Of course, the person who did it's not happy because they got to go to prison. But,
right.
We look at these other things. Well, it was an accident, right? I didn't mean to kill anybody. It's not like I ran over the road and tried to kill them.
Sorry, but I got to stop you there. That's not how I see it.
Right.
Right. Like I'm assuming that what he's charged with, he actually did, which we can't necessarily assume. But hypothetically, if he's drunk,
guilty,
drunk,
right?
And because he's drunk, he crossed the center line, he absolutely should be strung up, shouldn't he? I mean, that's not just you didn't go have 5 drinks on accident and then decide to get in your car and go run people off the road. That was an accident.
Right. But you may have a situation where where it's not alcohol, where maybe the officer thinks it's drugs, right?
Right. Or he could be on fentanyl or something like that.
They charge them with that, or it's a prescription medication that they have that doesn't really impair driving, and the doctor will come and testify that it doesn't impair their driving. So, I mean, it's pretty critical whether or not they get convicted of that DUI or the reckless driving or any other felonies as to whether or not what the sentencing is going to be like.
So could prosecutors have included like a higher charge than just first degree vehicular homicide?
If they thought it was intentional, like, if I go and run over pedestrians on the side of the road, like,
right.
I see the kid on the bicycle and I'm like, I'm going to get him.
Right.
Then it's just murder, right? We intended to kill somebody and there wasn't an accident involved. These presume that, yes, you're under the influence of alcohol, and that's what caused the accident. So therefore, that's why you're looking at the more severe time of the 15 years in prison.
Okay.
And it's totally up to the judge. Once the jury decides guilt or innocence, that's all they decide is the facts. If they match to the law, then the judge decides how to lay the hammer down.
But if all they're doing, what if he gets convicted of both the reckless driving and the DUI and
they're gonna the reckless driving and the DUI, they're gonna merge. There's this thing called merger.
Huh.
So when you got crimes with the same facts,
okay,
they kind of line up together. Then those things kind of merge in together. So yes, he may get convicted of all of them, but they don't stack up like that. Some crimes can, leaving the scene of an accident, because then we have the We have the death, right? And then have the DUI. That's all one thing.
That's right.
I was driving, I was drunk, had the wreck, but then I do a separate crime of I run and leave, right? And I don't render aid, and so the person dies on the side of the road because I chose not to do that.
Well, there are other examples of how that could play out, like with felony murder, right? Felony murder is you're committing a felony and it turns out that somebody dies in the commission of it, then you really could get raked over the coals.
Right, or if I had an armed robbery before and then I left the armed robbery but I was drunk and I had this vehicular homicide, then the courts can stack
those things.
Those together. So you're looking at, 20 plus 15 plus 5, so that's how you end up with these sentences of they received 187 years,
Oh, I was wondering about that. Like, there's no that's the stacking, not run concurrently thing.
Well, they are. They're asking for them to run concurrently, but they're only allowed to do that because of how the judge stacked up the sentence, right?
Okay. So, well, that'd be interesting to see.
So,
how that turns
on
out.
the injury side, when you're talking about that, what all are they able to? What are the damages there? Of course, we got deaths,
right? So, there's two things. One is the personal injury claim against the person who caused the wreck.
Okay.
Right. And then there's a second part, which is the wrongful death claim, right? Which is held actually by the surviving spouse. In this case, it's strange because, unfortunately, the surviving spouse isn't surviving the surviving spouse.
Right.
Right. So then, like the children, the heirs to the estate would be able to pursue a claim against this guy for the damages and for the wrongful death part of the claim. Okay. The issue that comes to my mind is, that the size of the damages in that case are incredibly huge. We're talking about pillars of the community, two people taken out. There were, it's terrible. And if you tried that case in front of a jury, the size of the damage would just be immense. Right? The question is, the guy who did it, can he pay a judgment that's big? That's that big.
So if the guy only has $25,000 worth of coverage on his car,
right,
and no other umbrella policies anywhere, homeowner policies that you can wrap in, or family policies that are out there,
right. That's a problem. So there are three things that my clients always need to know about that. One is, the insurance coverage is an important thing, right? If the person only has $25,000 in insurance coverage, that may be a problem, right? But understand that when someone injures you, it's that someone who's responsible to you for your damages, not not that someone's insurance company.
Right. We've talked about this before. You're not suing the insurance company.
That's right.
You're suing the individual that caused you the harm.
That's right.
Right.
And so what we're always doing is looking at, if we sued this person, ignore their insurance, right? If we just sued that person, can he pay a verdict that's that huge? You don't know. I don't know anything about this guy who's being accused of it. But that's what we look at, right? And if this person had left, their mansion, drunk out of their mind and then caused this accident, then you've got some things to go on. Right. But if they're driving around a 2011 Honda, and they only have $25,000 in insurance coverage, that kind of tells you, a little bit about what kind of assets the person might have.
So why doesn't Georgia law require, one, a larger insurance policy, and two, that everyone carry UM coverage?
See, I agree with the second thing.
Wouldn't that fix the problem?
Well, here's the thing. If you ask me, I don't think that you should change the $25,000 coverage requirement, because in reality, if I have something to protect, I need to protect it myself. That's how the real world works.
Right.
Right. If you have a good paying job and you're worried about being disabled, you buy a disability policy so that if you had an injury or you had an illness that caused you to be unable to work, you would be covered. Right.
Right.
If you're working and you're doing a really good job and you have a wife and you have kids and you want to make sure that they're cared for, if you suddenly kick off, you get life insurance. Right? This is one of the things I love about, in particular, the psyche here in Georgia, is that we take care of our own stuff. Right? We handle our own business here. Right? And that's reflected in our law. Look, if you have something to protect, you need to protect it yourself. That's why we have uninsured motorist coverage, to It's also called underinsured motorist coverage, because what it does is it stacks on top of that $25,000 in minimum policy limits to cover you. So like if I was walking across the street, right, and someone hit me, I have uninsured motorist coverage that would cover me for hundreds of thousands of dollars, because I've got something to protect.
But why, when you're sitting down, you're talking to an insurance guy,
Right.
They don't seem to push that. They don't really, you get your little basic coverage and your low minimum payments, and I just think if it was required that everybody have some.
I know, but that's just, I mean, I don't know. That's a philosophical thing that you and I probably are not going to agree about. The reality is that
so if you want to, should have personal choice and freedom.
I mean, just saying,
let them run around, do
right?
whatever.
Like be an informed person. Like we don't need a nanny to tell us you have to have this. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
If you want to eat a pod, eat a pod.
Tide Pod.
Tide Pod. Well, I was trying not to.
Get
bleeped out again.
Oh gosh, what were we using? Yeah, we were using that. Okay. All right. Well, that's the news.
There we go.
All right. Next, we have a question from the mailbag.
It's time to dip into the mailbag.
Oh, this one's in my neck of the woods. Here's the question. I was in a car accident, and I was rear-ended by this other person. It's clearly the other person's fault.
Okay.
Right? Should I have the property damage to my car handled by that other person's insurance company or my own?
Okay.
All right. So a lot of people don't know this, but if you
I want the other guy's insurance car to fix my car right now.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to let my insurance do it, because that's not fair to me.
That's not fair to my insurance company.
It's going to make it shouldn't have happened. Right?
That's right. That's exactly right. And based on principle, as a matter of principle, that is absolutely correct. The other insurance company should pay it. But understand, like there are insurance companies and there are insurance companies. And I'm just saying, I'm just going to use this as an anecdote.
You get what you pay for?
I mean, in many circumstances, you kind of do.
Right.
Right. I had this, I can't remember if I've talked about this before, but I had a fire in the backyard of my home.
Burning leaves, trash, bodies.
Exactly. Okay. During a drought, and during the worst drought, this neighbor behind me was burning leaves, got out of control, burned my fence down, burned my wood shop down. I had these, anyways.
It was probably on a do not burn day.
All of them were do not burn days. So I had the choice. Right. I could walk over to my neighbor's house and say, you better give me your insurance information so that I can file a claim with your insurance. Or I could call my insurance company and say, hey, my neighbor, did this. Will you handle this?
Right.
Right. I called my insurance company because I know my insurance company. And I say, hey, I got this claim. My insurance company says, well, don't you want the other insurance company to deal with it? And I say, yes, I do, but you can handle that for me.
Right.
Right? We call this subrogation. Your insurance company will handle the property damage, and then they will subrogate. They will go after the other insurance company for you.
Because insurance companies like money.
Right.
And if somebody else was responsible, they will go find said person.
That's right.
And hold them responsible.
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Because they didn't like that they had to pay it out on your behalf.
That's
when
right.
It was somebody else's fault. But that's part of the service they provide.
That's what you're paying for.
Is this subrogation.
That's right.
And people hate it. And they fuss about it all the time, because I explain it to people as well, because they're like, but I want them to pay. They're going to pay.
They're going to pay.
I promise you.
Why not make your own insurance company make them pay?
Wouldn't you rather have your car fixed in the next 10 days instead of 6 months? Like,
trust me, my entire life, my entire practice is based on getting insurance companies to pay, and I would rather an insurance company make another insurance company pay. Anyways, the other part of that, though, is that many people think, well, if I file a claim on my own insurance, my insurance rates are going to go up.
Right.
And the answer to that is no. That is against the law. In Georgia,
Correct.
Your insurance company cannot increase your premiums if you filed a claim on your own insurance and wasn't your fault. That's the law.
They're going to go chase that money down, get it back.
That's right.
So go ahead and let them.
You have that.
The moral of the story is let them go ahead and fix the car.
That's right.
Get it done. Because the car and the injury to your body or person and lost weight are different, right?
That's right.
Property damage.
That's right.
Right.
The property damage gets handled usually very quickly. And the injury to your body is going to take a while.
You don't know.
To recover. You don't know how long
it's going to take.
But you know exactly how damaged your car is as soon as it happened, right? They can fix it.
Now you don't have
That's
a car.
Right. Well, that, and you really can't,
it's got a blue book value.
If we lived in Europe and you could take public transportation everywhere, it might be a different thing. But really, if you get in a wreck, you need your car fixed, right now.
Right.
And if the other insurance company's dragging their feet, use your own insurance company. Anyways, that's it. That's all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed our podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next time when Bob and Irreverent D talk law.